Did you know that back in 1973 there was a huge shortage of gas because of an oil embargo? Embargo means to outlaw the trading of specific goods to specific countries. And it happened back then to countries that supported Israel during the Yom Kippur War. And that included Canada, Japan, the Netherlands, England, and the USA. They were supporting Israel during that time, during the war in the Middle East in 1974. And as a result, the gas prices surged 300%. 300%! And that was an oil embargo that impacted a lot of times. Oh, and gas stations were out of control. They were crazy. The lines were outrageous. People today still even look back and lived through it and remember, like my dad. So my dad, Jerry Cooper, is going to be here sharing his memory. He says, I remember the gas here. Man, there wasn't enough. The lines were so long, you waited forever. And the government had to come up with a solution for this. So what they did was they took the numbers on your license and odd numbers, the end of the numbers, the odd numbers were allowed to go get gas on those specific days. I remember mine was even. So I could only fuel up on the even days. I would go early in the morning, and even then there was a huge line. I mean, it wasn't as bad as before that system was implemented, but it was a terrible experience. The world called that war the 6-Day War, or the June War. And it happened between June 5th to June 10th, 1967. And that war involved Israel, Jordan, Syria, and Egypt. At that time, in May, the Egyptian president made a proclamation that he would be closing a specific body of sea called the Strait of Tiran, and he forbid Israel to trade using that waterway. So on June 5th, Israel went ahead and released bombs onto Egyptian territory, but they still deny it to this day that they did not. And as a result of that, the war began. At the completion of the war, 5 countries in the Middle East agreed that they would ban the export of oil to America, England, and West Germany, because at that point then they considered it an oil weapon. Luckily at that time, the U.S. had backup oil, so they were able to get by, but in the 70s, the United States needed more oil from the Middle East, but they weren't allowed to get any. So in 1973, the Middle East stopped sharing oil, and at that time, many countries didn't have enough. There was a shortage. They didn't have enough, and so those countries, they didn't know what to do. They needed more, so they ended up developing different alliances and getting oil from other different places. And the USA got oil from different places, such as in Alaska, over in the North Sea, and other places. As a result of this experience, the world established the International Energy Agency in 1974 to help prevent that problem from happening again.